compassion for the developing world coming out of the developed world is very, very, very limited, right? Because I mean, you can see that in the news reporting on conflicts in Africa versus the conflict in Ukraine. I mean, not that what's happening in Ukraine isn't evil and terrible and horrible, just that evil, terrible, horrible things have been happening in Africa all along and in parallel and have gotten very little attention because, it's far away, it's on a different continent, the people have a different color skin, right? It's so once there's no need to outsource work to Africa, then what happens, right? Like in the outskirts of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where my company Singularity has had an office for some time, there's a factory where local Ethiopians are assembling shoes from parts that are made in China in plastic extrusion equipment in China. But how long is it till robots can assemble those shoes cheaper than African labor? Is not very long, right? So then what happens? I mean, you have mines already. Chinese government has dug the mines and they built highways straight from the mine to the port in many African countries. So what happens when robots do mining better than people, which makes total sense, right? They don't need to breathe. They don't get toxins in their systems. They can have night vision. So what happens then? Either the developed world gives universal basic income to the Congo and the rest of the developing world, or these folks keep on subsistence farming, right? I mean, they could grow food there, but then what do you have? You have an amazing global have not situation, right? Where you have some countries where, in the rich part of the world, people are hanging out, going online, watching VR porn, eating free food and free internet, and enjoying life in the post scarcity era, while the robots manufacture everything they need. You'll still have super rich who are much richer than everyone else. But if the average population, has power, internet, food, water, and doesn't need to work, they're all right, right? On the other hand, you
Are
have this
they?
other part
Are
of the
they? That's an
world.
interesting question too. Does that
It
create a
is, but but how about the other couple billion people in the world who are subsistence farming with no access to medical care and minimal advanced technology, right? So now these people, they do have internet. They have the ability to look up online how to carry out various terrorist acts and make nuclear weapons and hack into the power grid into the developed world and whatnot, right? So I mean, I think you have potential scenarios where AI-driven unemployment leads to radical global inequality of wealth, income, and living conditions, which then spawns, a new era of violent conflict, quite different than what we've seen so far, and wouldn't be hard to avoid with a bit more enlightened consciousness on the part of people in the developed world, right? Like, I mean, all we need to do is be inclusive and share the fruits of our AI and technology advances with the entire human species. But I mean, we're not even good at getting food to starving children, right? So this sort of thing is a very obvious existential risk, which is like right there in front of you with just a few pretty simple reasoning steps. And I think this is a bigger worry than the hypothetical worry of a super AGI, suddenly switching gears from its benevolent, loving upbringing and turning nasty. Because then who's creating the AGI in this potentially dystopic pre-singularity scenario, right? It's then the developed world elite companies and governments working together, creating AGI whose job it is to keep the developing world squashed and keep them from blowing up the power grid in US and Europe, right? Then basically you have AGI developed by big tech in conjunction with big developed world government with a goal of maintaining a divided, unequal world order, right? And this is not the right sort of mentality to get into the psyche of your developing AGI system, not at all, right? Then what you're teaching your developing AGI is might makes right, and if you've got more power and resources, like more power to you. Keep those other guys from taking it away. And if that's what you're feeding the mind of your early stage AGI with, I mean, then we don't know what kind of system it's gonna grow up into, right? And I mean, this leads me to really want the first AGI to come out of the open source and decentralized ecosystem, right? Because we do have some things in the realm of advanced technology that have been more even across developing and developed world, and have been more, in a way, democratic and decentralized in their growth. I mean, the internet is one example, right? I mean, Iran is on the internet. Even parts of North Korea are on the internet, right? So the internet is a collection of protocols, and it has managed to cut across political boundaries, right? I can email my friends in China or Russia right now. I can be on WeChat, the main Chinese social network, right? And AI researchers in mainland China post their papers on archive.org, run in the US, and they put code on GitHub, which is in US, right? So, I mean, the internet has cut across political and ideological boundaries. The Linux operating system has cut across ideological boundaries and national boundaries, right? Like when Google cut off Google Maps and Gmail and such from different countries, they can still run Android. They can still run open source Android, which is Linux operating system on their phones, right? So I mean, you have examples in the internet and Linux, which were developed open source, and they've grown into decentralized networks spanning the world. And this has allowed global youth culture to flourish. It's also allowed science and AI and engineering development to happen in a global distributed way, right? So if AI is developed and deployed in the manner of the internet and Linux, I mean, instead of in the manner of, say, Facebook or Microsoft Windows or Google, right? Then you may have more hope that the early stages of development of AGI are not governed by the nasty global politics we see in the world, which I think is likely to keep getting nastier.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.